Have at it.
How does it feel, Coach, to come out this way and kind of start off the season like this?
Well, we made shots. We didn't really. I think we only had like 20 points with about 9 minutes left, if I'm not mistaken. But then the lid came off, and we shot the ball great. And I thought we played really well offensively and defensively. We didn't guard their perimeter very well, but I think we lost a little bit of energy or a little bit of focus defensively when we made shots, which is unfortunately that's natural. But I thought the ball did move pretty well tonight.
Brandon can test you, but a good game for him tonight.
Oh yeah, well you go score 18 points on 6 shots. That's a pretty good game. So I was told. I'll let you. He tied Greg Gurley, I guess, all time. Is the only 2 players that's ever gone at least 5 for 5 from 3 in 2 different games. And you guys can guess who told me that, and his wife. But that was he was on fire. But everybody played well, but he was on fire.
For Devontae's first time starting to get that type of play out of him, specifically in the first half.
Yeah, but to me, first time starting, that he's been one of our best players of the since middle of February last year, and he started the 2 exhibition games. So I don't know if that really meant much, but I thought we needed him to be good, especially with Frank and in foul trouble and having 2 quick ones. So yeah, Devontae did fine. He didn't shoot the ball. He probably shot the ball, compared to everybody else, he didn't shoot the ball well at all. He shot it poorly, but I thought his floor game was excellent.
Well, I know it's just one game, but how do you think this team can be shooting wise? I mean, can they be one of your better outside teams you've had?
Well, teams will guard us different and take things away, and we understand that. But there's BG and Svi, those 2 guys. I mean, you stop and think about the last 2 games. You've had 2 different players make 5 threes off the bench. You're not going to see that very often, and in limited minutes. I think Svi did it in 20, and BG did it in 14 tonight. So that's a bonus, and of course. Wayne, if he can be a 37 to 40% 3-point shooter, and the same with Devontae and Frank, and hopefully those 2 can be above 40. I think Perry's going to be a good percentage 3-point shooter. I think that this is by far one of the better shooting teams that we've had. Doesn't mean we're always going to make shots, but I think that we could score points in a hurry and run bad offense and come away with points. Where I think there's a lot of years we haven't been able to do that.
Last spring, I remember you said that Brandon's surgery was really serious. For him to do that in his first game, do you think it's a pretty good comeback? How hard he worked and everything?
Yeah, Brandon's worked hard. I think I could be critical and say we can all work a little harder sometimes, but I think Brandon's done a nice job for the most part with rehab. But guys, let's not get too excited. Let's talk about it after Tuesday. When we're playing, a team that's obviously capable of winning the Big Ten. As opposed to talking about in a game tonight where there's no pressure because you have a big lead. Everybody shoots it better. Let's see how we do when it's a a tight game that comes down to last couple of possessions, and I would not be surprised if that's the case on Tuesday. But yeah, Brandon's done he's done a nice job. He's not 100%. He has good days, bad days, but tonight he showed what he can do shooting the ball.
You mentioned Graham had a strong floor game. What would you say is kind of his biggest strength as a point guard at this point in his career?
Well, he's pretty good at driving it. He doesn't drive it like Frank, but he's a better ball mover than Frank. Frank's one of the few. We've only had one other guy here that I can remember is the ball could stick with him, and we could still run good offense when it stuck because he was so good off the bounce, and that'd be Sharon. Frank and Sharon are the 2 best we've had at that. Devontae's not like that. Devontae's more of a ball mover, but he can drive a bad closeout and things like that as well as anybody. And then the other thing is he's a pretty good shooter. I mean, he didn't shoot it well tonight, but I feel really confident when he shoots the ball.
Do you think Tuesday's game could be the opposite of this offensively?
Oh, yeah. Nobody's going to score 100 points in that game. I mean, it's going to be – last year, I think I watched the game today with Michigan State, and I don't know what we hung last year, but wasn't it like 67, 63 or something like that? And both teams labored to score, and I may even be being generous on total points. Last year they missed a ton of bunnies, point blank shots that definitely played to our benefit, and Wayne goes 0 for 10. I mean, it was not an artistic basketball game offensively at all last year. I would think both teams will play better this time, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be artistic by any stretch, because I know they'll guard us, and then we've got to do a much better job defensively than what we've shown so far.
Coach, Frank and Devontae combined for 17 assists tonight. How beneficial is it for the team to have two guys out there that can move the ball around like that?
Well, we haven't had that. We've been playing with one guard for 2 years, and I prefer play with. If we had 3-point guards, that'd be fine with me, as long as one of them was big enough to defend the three. But you stop and look at it, our star, Wayne and Frank and Devontae. I'm looking at it right here: 21 assists and 4 turnovers. And our entire starters, 24 assists and 5 turnovers. But then you get out of the starting lineup, it's 5 assists and 10 turnovers. So we've got to, guys off the bench have got to do a better job of taking care of the ball. But the guys coming in aren't natural playmakers, because you're bringing in Svi and Brandon or LeGerald. So, those two have to be good assist to turnover guys, and they have to be able to initiate, and they have to be able to finish plays with the pass, because they do it better than anybody else we have.
Do you ever motivate about reminding them about last year for the Champions Classic?
I haven't even mentioned it.
One of the guys one day said that the practice the next day was really hard.
When I would think that, I don't know if it was hard, but I guarantee we played better the next day, because it would be impossible to play as poorly. So, but I haven't even mentioned last year.
You like the format, the way it is, and how early in the season it is? Or?
We don't have a good record in it. We played Kentucky the 2 years they have their, best teams. They win the national championship and had the best team in the country last year, those 2 years. And the year that we play Michigan State, I think they went to the Final Four. I could be wrong. I may be off on that one. But so we've played, you're going to play a good team no matter what. But it'd be nice to win at a higher clip than what we won so far. But I think it's great, because all college basketball fans, their eyes will be on that night, and we get a chance to be showcased. So that'll be fun.
Tonight after the game, Brandon said you came in after the game and said your guys got to flip the switch now. How come you came in and said that after the game?
These guys are unbelievable, because I don't think I've ever used the term flip the switch. But they're great at getting quotes and being quotable for you guys. So I don't know what exactly he meant, but I'll go with it, and I'll say probably defensively we got to flip the switch and become better defensively. So. These guys are pros.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, guys, thanks.